Gary's water still stinks. The Mayor of Dubbo Regional Council, Matthew Dixon. Why is it still stinky?
Well, we haven't been able to solve the problem yet is the reason it's still...
God, throw some salt in it or something. Do something.
Yeah, that's right. Man. Good idea. You and I should get out there this afternoon and just throw a bit of salt and everything will be okay. But
a bit of chlorine, you know.
That's right. It is an old water treatment plant. That's part of the issue. 1993 it was built when you didn't need the same standards as we have now for water. So that is an issue. And I must admit, Richard, we spoke about it a week ago and I said at the time that I think it'd be a couple of days and we'd have the problem solved, and I was wrong. It has been more than a couple of days. It's been a week since we first talked about it or thereabouts. So we do apologise to the Geary residents. It's certainly taking a little bit longer than we expected to do, but we're working on it. And look, we have got in our budget for this year, or for next financial year, $4 million to do an upgrade of the Geary water treatment plant, but at the moment we've still got to try and make do with the current water treatment plant. So unfortunately, you've still got to boil your water in Geary. It's a very low risk, but let's not take the risk. Still boil your water. If it's going to go in your mouth, it's going to clean your teeth, or you're going to drink it, then still boil your water.
Okay. Much to the delight of the Rejects shop and maybe even Spotlight and Mitre 10 and also Bunnings, they're selling out whistling kettles fast and furiously.
Well, it is unfortunate. And so you can still use the water if you're having a shower. Just don't drink it while you're in the shower. If you clean your teeth in the shower, then don't do that. You can still use it to wash your clothes, but just anything that goes in your mouth, just make sure you boil that water first.
All right. Does that mean until this is replaced, that's going to be the modus operandi? Is that how it's going to be?
No, it's not going to be that long. And again, I'm a bit scared now, Richard, to say just a couple of more days it'll be okay, because that's what I thought it was going to be the first time.
What are you doing at the minute? Is it blue tack? What are you doing? What's going on?
So there was a piece of equipment that is involved in the processing, and that did fail. And so again, we're just trying to replace that and make sure that's right again. So it's all about the turbidity, and that's the new standard is 0.5 is the measure of that, and it was at 0.8. So it's better than that now. We've got it down below 0.8, but it's still marginally above 0.5. So the Department of Planning and Environment and New South Wales Health have basically said we've still got to have that boil water alert until we can get it below that 0.5.
So what do we do? You're monitoring it every day? What? How's that
it's constantly monitored anyway. So what we've done since the amalgamation, then there has been some installation of some sampling technology that does monitor that on a more regular basis, or a constant basis, if you like. And so we're basically doing that and then making sure we're flushing the water through and getting to that point where we can get it below that 0.5 where it's got to be.
Okay. So even if you're making ice blocks, you can't do that either.
Well, it's a really good point. Something that people might think about. They might think it's okay in ice, but obviously you have it in ice, you take it out of the tap, put it in ice, then it can be freezing any contaminants that might be in there. Then you use that ice in a couple of weeks' time, they can still have an issue. So if you're going to make ice, and we did talk about it before, Richard, the Mpemba effect, it's worth looking up. If you boil your water and then put it in the freezer, it actually freezes faster, which doesn't make sense at all. If you look up Mpemba, M-P-E-M-B-A, the Mpemba effect, it's quite fascinating.
Is it really? You need to get a life, Matthew, to do that. What about washing up? Can you still do that?
Yeah, so washing up...
Hot water, in other words, hot water.
Yeah, if you're washing the dishes, that's okay, because you're really not leaving any water, any levels of water on the dishes there, and you're using obviously hot water when you're washing up there. It's, again, anything that's going to go straight in your mouth. So cleaning your teeth... Okay. Drinking, obviously. Cooking, if you're doing any cooking. So if you're making some pasta, you'd want to boil the water, which is boiling on the stove anyway, so you're kind of already boiling that water.
Okay. What about showering? You've mentioned that too. So that means this has got to keep going. This plant doesn't seem old to me. 1993, that doesn't seem like an ancient thing. Who put it in the ground in the first place?
It was done by the old Wellington Shire Council, and at the time they put it in, it was fine because the standards that you required at that time, it conformed to all those standards. Since that time, the standards have increased, and so the water has to be treated to a higher level, and so unfortunately now it wasn't really built to be below that 0.5 for the standard for turbidity.
Okay, so you're keeping your eye on that. You let us know when we can stop using the kettle then.
Yeah, that's right. And we have put out another boil water alert because, again, people thought, well, it might only be a few days, it should be okay now, but we actually did put out another boil water alert just to remind people about that.
But see, last time we talked, I got quite a few calls from residents of Geary, they got tank water.
Yeah, so if they've got tank water, obviously that's a separate issue. It's not going through the water treatment plant. It's only the water going through the water treatment plant that's owned by Dubbo Regional Council.
Okay. All right, before I let you go, you're in Canberra at the minute. What's the temp there?
I do know the temperature. I knew you'd ask me that, so I looked it up. It's 4 degrees, cloudy, expecting a hot of 14 degrees today and a minimum of 3 degrees overnight.
Thank you, weatherman. Wish list tomorrow. Wish list, $25 million worth of flagpole to hold up the Aboriginal flag. No qualms about the Aboriginal. It should have been there a long time ago. But what's this thing made of? And wouldn't it be nice if we could get part of the $25 million for this flagpole they're going to jab at the top of the Sydney Harbour Bridge for your budget here? How about that?
I reckon we've got some pretty good engineers at council, so I'm going to just send Dominic a quick email and say, look, mate, we can do it for $24 million. And I reckon we'll be right. And it can be $1 million better off.
It must be made of titanium or something.
Who knows? I mean, I understand there's a fair few forces up there on the top of the Sydney Harbour Bridge, but there's a couple other flagpoles that seem to have gone okay out there. Just copy one of those. That should be right, shouldn't it?
Yeah, I don't understand. It's apparently 20 metres high. That's as high as a 6-storey building, and it's 9 metres by 4.5 metres. That's the size of the flag, and all sorts of weather conditions. But seriously, though, tomorrow the budget, what kind of effect will the state budget have on the bottom line of the DRC, Matthew Dickerson?
Well, there's a couple of things there that I'd like to see. I'll go a slightly different tack. We are looking for money. We've already had some discussions with the state government. There's supposedly, hopefully, fingers crossed, going to be a $2.5 million allocation to regional skilled migration, and regional cities, New South Wales, which Dubbo Regional Council is a member of, is hoping to be able to get that money to help more people with specific skills come to regional areas, including Dubbo and Wellington, so that all those businesses out there that are always crying out for various skills, and those various businesses are always telling me that they need certain skills, we're able to help those people move out from Sydney. And let's face it, we don't want them in Sydney, we want them in regional areas, so that's certainly something we hope will be a direct impact on us. In general, in the state budget, we're hoping to see for money for roads. Obviously, we need roads. That's something that people talk to me about every day. And affordable housing. I think even just housing in general, I think if we can get more housing and get some money to help housing, then that will bring down the prices overall. The reason it's hard to get affordable housing at the moment is because there's so much demand and so little supply. So I think the state government could help regional areas with some of that housing and some of that housing supply, which would help across the entire sector, including affordable housing. So I'd hope to see money for both roads and housing in the state budget. Lots of other things we'd like to see there as well, but I think they're the two pain points that I'm hearing from residents at the moment across Dubbo Regional Council.
Get money for roads and the housing as well. And I just got an email. Mark said, tell him he's dreaming.
Indeed, maybe I am.
Yeah, could be too. All right, in the meantime, bottom line, that's the budget tomorrow. But Geary still got to boil your water, When do you reckon we won't have to?
Look, I'm hoping, I said last time a couple of days, I'm hoping it's only a few more days. It's tough to predict, though. I'm scared to make a prediction.
You go also, Matt, tell us why are you in Canberra?
The National General Assembly. So this is a conference that has...
National General Assembly.
This is a conference that councils from across the nation are invited to. So I actually find it quite helpful to come along and talk to people from other councils across the nation. Plus, you see some interesting presentations. Some of the new ministers now, the newly crowned ministers for the new federal government come along and talk to us as well. But it is a good way to share ideas and really get some different ideas.
Yep. You seen Albo?
I haven't seen Albo. I'm not sure if he's coming along, but certainly I know there's some ministers coming along.
All right, Paul Toole's in your backyard today too, by the way, Bronnie Taylor as well.
Yeah.
An announcement about IPTAS.
Well, that's good. I think you mentioned Rod Crowfoot before while I was listening, and certainly that's something that's a major issue for people that do stay at Macquarie Homestay. Anyone that has to travel, and we know the health facilities in Dubbo, the number one employer is Health and Social Services in Dubbo, and we know that people do travel from around the region, and it is difficult for them to get that money for IPTAS, and some people choose not to travel and just put up with their ailment rather than travel to get some help.
No, not good. All right, I'll let you get to the conference. Your time is up, Matthew Dickerson. Enjoy Canberra. Rug up. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, mate.